right? You've got some data, you want it to perform that task, so you just throw the data in and you train it, and then we go from there. If you download code off, let's say GitHub, that has a neural network in it and it trains up something on some task, the chances are you'll be able to plug your data in and go. And you'll have to fiddle around with the data loaders a little bit, in a bit of Python there, but really that's the first thing you can do. Once you've done something like supervised learning, then you can move on to more complicated topics like unsupervised learning, weakly supervised. There's hundreds of subsets of different configurations that you could train with. And then, you could also start to familiarize yourself with these, large language models and these big networks that are trained using a hybrid of different approaches.
Where do I learn PyTorch? Is there GitHub places where I can go?
Yeah, so there's loads of courses, but actually the PyTorch GitHub, the examples and the PyTorch tutorials, those are actually really good resources. There's a couple of tutorials at the beginning of the PyTorch tutorial set, which is sort of things like tensors, auto differentiation, so it's AutoGrad framework. It's worth working through these because you'll just get a feel for what's going on under the hood. So actually PyTorch does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't see. And if you kind of skip over that, you'll get it running fine, but you might not necessarily understand what's going on. But I think if you have in the back of your mind what it's doing, it actually does make it quite a bit easier to use.
So just for everyone who's watching, I've linked a video below. Mike did a great example showing us how to use code that he's used or created and how to work with images and do some interesting stuff. So I've linked that video below if you want to learn. I'll also put links to PyTorch below. So if you want to learn that. What about last time you recommended, Andrew has got a course on Coursera that teaches the basics of, should I do that? Yeah,
so I think that, so Coursera, I think, costs more than it used to, right? So that's a choice that people have to make.
I think you can do it for free still, can't you?
I think you can, at least briefly, right? If you're quick. Yeah, I think I still do recommend that course. I think that course there's two courses really. There's the machine learning one and there's the deep learning specialization. Now, actually, I'm a big proponent of I recommend often doing the initial introduction to machine learning course because I think it teaches more of the fundamentals that you can't pick up through just having a go. Things like what does the learning rate do and what effect does it have on the training of the network? And what happens if your network doesn't train? What do you do in that situation? Going from machine learning to deep learning is actually not that big a leap at all, right? They're very similar concepts. They're trained in much the same way. It's those initial machine learning concepts that are going to take a little bit of time to get your head around. So that's a good course. There are plenty of courses on all of the online learning platforms in similar things. But I certainly think if you're taking a course that's talking about learning rates, how to train, the training process, how you prepare data, those are the kind of things that are really worth learning.
I think we need to convince you to create a course.
Yeah, I mean, when I find some time, I'll have a go. I sometimes do think about that. Yeah, I think it would be quite good because I spend a lot of time teaching these topics to a lot of people. It would be easy if I'd have just pre-recorded myself. I could just say, go over and watch that and then come and talk to me afterwards.
That'd be great. Yeah, we're going to, so everyone please vote below, put your comments below if you want Mike to create a Udemy course or some kind of online course where we can all learn from him. Now, I really appreciate you sharing this, Mike, and it's overwhelming and you've been doing this for a long time. And like I said, you separate all the hype from actually what's reality. So
for what it's worth, it's overwhelming to people working in AI as well, right? Because there's so many papers. I mean, we just submitted a paper to a conference where I think submission about 12,000. I mean, that 10 years ago, there were not that many papers in computer vision almost across the world in a whole year. And we're talking now about one conference.